Right.
All right, everybody, we're back. Season 2,
All right.
episode 9. What a week. What an absolute
Right.
week. We are going to do the best we can today. We're having some technical difficulties, but we're going to muddle through it. Let me start with the highs.
Right.
Let me start with what I'm wearing, Nikki. Michael Irvin,
All right. Michael Irvin, back in the old Miami from the Florida State rivalry,
the
back in
playmaker.
the late '80s. Right.
A lot of cocaine went through his nose while he was playing, but he was very good.
He
Um,
was an excellent player.
In this game this week, we have Florida State, Miami playing each other, an old rivalry, obviously, from the state of Florida. A game that me and you have been to, by the way. We've road tripped to
That's
that game.
right. Several. Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
Smoking Cuban cigars in Miami Beach in the water. I remember that. I remember that one beautiful, beautiful memory. The day before the
That's
game.
right.
Water was like 95 degrees. It was beautiful.
Right.
And I'm wearing Central Michigan because without Connor Scallions, Michigan's officially dead, Nick. They got nothing. Just
Right.
for putting that out there right now. They're finished. Like we called in week 1, by the way. For the record, we called them 8-4 in week 1. All right. The Heisman Trophy, no one really stood out except for Cam Ward had another great game and another comeback. Unbelievable effort against, Louisville, 348 yards, 4 touchdowns. Between him and Ashton Genty, they seem to be the front runners, right? For the Heisman.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, the other guys are kind of not. They're doing okay, but they haven't had the big moments yet. So, Nick, can
Right.
you go over? You want me to do the playoff projections since you're having the audio?
No, I can do it. I mean, I'm
Okay,
gonna give it a shot.
go
It's
ahead.
in the eighth position. The 8-9 game is an SEC clash between the Tennessee Volunteers in the eighth spot, and the ninth spot is the LSU Fighting Tigers. The seventh spot is Texas off their loss to Georgia against the number 10 Clemson. I'm sorry, number 7 Texas Longhorns against the number 10 Clemson Tigers. The sixth spot is the Ohio State Buckeyes, and the 11th spot is the undefeated BYU Cougars. So in the 5 spot, we have the Penn State Nittany Lions against the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame in the 12th spot. And then we have the 4 byes are in the 1 slot is the Oregon Ducks, 2 the Georgia Bulldogs, 3 the Miami Hurricanes, and 4 the Iowa State Cyclones. All these 4 teams are still undefeated.
They are, and no. Georgia's not undefeated. Georgia has one loss
Oh, that's right. You're right.
to Bama,
You're
but
right.
they are
That's
in
right.
the top of the SEC. Um,
Right.
we had a good time this weekend. Homecoming at Maryland. All the boys came into
We
town.
did.
Good representation. Um, good game. I had to drive that bus home, so I took it easy. Really did not drink after like 3 o'clock the rest of the night. We didn't leave there till 9:30. So it was we got
Okay.
home around 10:30 that night. It was a long day, but really fun to catch up with everyone and see everybody that we had. We see most of these guys once a year. So it was nice to see
Right.
everybody. All right. So there's a few teams still left undefeated, which is unbelievable because the carnage has been real, right? The SEC, no
Right.
undefeated teams in the SEC. We got Oregon and Penn State from the Big Ten, Miami from the ACC, Iowa State and BYU from Big 12. Actually, Indiana also from
Right.
the Big Ten, and Pittsburgh from the
Right.
ACC. And then we have Army and Navy, Nick.
Right.
I,
Both 2 of the 3 military academies are undefeated.
yeah, and Liberty, which is always somehow very good at football, religious school in Virginia.
Right.
So here we go. Georgia, Texas, game of the week. 1-5. I like the dogs. I said they've been disrespected. Nobody picked them, by the way, on game day. Nobody picks
Right,
him. Everyone was down on him. I said that disrespect thing is real, and that Jalen Walker is real. That's the best defensive player I've seen in
right.
a few years. What did you think of that game? I don't know if you caught any of it.
I did not see it. Like I was coming back from the USC game. I was on the train and didn't see it enough. I watched the highlight tape, but I didn't get the same feel for it as you did.
Yeah, I saw the third and fourth quarter, and then I saw the highlight reel as well. But Georgia, the one thing that's been talked about more in the game, I guess, is the ref changing their mind after the kids threw bottles on the field because they didn't get a
Right,
call they liked. Um,
right,
then they changed the call. That is a bad precedent they're setting here. Um,
right. But the refs, I don't think the refs have been suspended.
they haven't been.
I don't think so. I haven't seen anything like that.
They should be suspended. That
Yeah,
that's horrible. I mean, and it's
yeah,
unreviewable. The call is an unreviewable call, and they reviewed it and turned and overturned it. As an you can't overturn that call, right? They still did it
right,
anyhow. It goes back to the point that we've been talking about with sports gambling and all the money involved. There is some shady shit going on during games that you never saw before sports gambling became part of the equation. That's all I'm gonna say.
right.
Shady.
All right,
Um,
right,
Oregon going to Purdue and throttling them 35 nothing. That was impressive, man. I didn't think they had it in on a short week after playing Ohio State the week before, right? A letdown game written all over it, short week,
right.
traveling across the country. They may be for real. I mean, they may be the real deal. I know Dan Lanning a
Oh,
real
no
deal
question they're
coach.
for real. Yeah,
Um, and then Penn State had the week off, but this week they go to Whiskey. That should be a really good
right,
game. Talk about that
right.
when we get to it.
Saturday night game.
Saturday night
Right,
game in Madison.
right.
Great venue, great town. I've been there for a basketball game, not a football game. Took my son there and we had a really good time. We flew into
You
Milwaukee
have
and
good taste. It's a good place to go.
we drove over from Milwaukee. It snowed though. It snowed big time when we were there. The
Yeah,
Canes barely got out of Louisville, man. Really had no business winning that game. But, they just outscore everybody. I think they're going to kill
right,
Florida State this week, but
right.
because they have no offense. But I don't see their what do you think their chances are in the playoffs with that kind of defense? I mean, they can score.
None. Right, but you have to have some. You have to have defense in the playoffs,
Yeah,
and I mean they have some defense, but not enough to to do a lot of damage.
right.
I
I
mean
agree. I
they let
agree.
up a lot of points.
Yeah, they've given up a lot of points. Iowa State, beat UCF, Central Florida. I saw the highlights of that game.
Right,
That was a really good game, high level. No defense
right,
as well, but Iowa State came out with the W, drove down at the end of the game to win the game at kind of at the wire. Same with BYU, drove down to win the game at the wire against Okie State, which by the way was our lock of the
right.
week,
Same,
which hit. Thank you, Nick.
right. Same score. Right.
Yep, 38-35.
Close. Right,
And then we have Indiana
right.
playing
Yeah,
Nebraska. And we
right,
thought, okay, this is going to be a big test for them. And we both picked Nebraska with the points,
right,
and they got
right,
freaking throttled.
right. They gave up half a hundred. I mean, this is it's a story. I mean, it's no doubt. I mean, he's they haven't it's coming up on Halloween next week, and they haven't trailed for a minute this entire season.
This meeting is
Yeah,
being recorded.
yeah, they
So
haven't. I don't.
it's
I
it's
just I mean, they played really good defensively that game. I saw the highlights of that game. I just thought their offense with their quarterback getting hurt. I'm not liking them as much this week as I didn't like them last week to win that big. But this week with the backup quarterback, I think they might be in trouble. But I hope not. It's a good story. Zignetti's
Right,
unbelievable. He's so intense. He reminds me of an old school coach, right? I mean, he's like a Woody Hayes type, right? I mean,
right,
he's football
right,
24/7.
right.
Um, Army won, Navy won.
Yeah,
So I mean, we got a good game coming up with Navy Notre Dame this week as well.
right,
So as you put it, the separations have started. You know, the blame game has begun, right?
right, right.
Um,
The coaches have been separated from their employer.
who do we got out this? And the transfer portal starting to fill up too, Nick.
So we got Mike Houston, who was let go at East Carolina after losing to Army on Saturday in West Point. He won a national title with James Madison several years ago. I question whether they're going to be able to get a better coach in there than Mike Houston, but that's I guess that's how they're going to try. We'll see what happens.
Right.
I don't know how some of these schools are fixed for money. Um, there was a thing where Barry Switzer, who is a smart individual, said, in he was on the Paul Feinbaum show. I didn't listen to it, but apparently he said, Oklahoma only has 3.5 million people. Texas has over 30 million people. There's a lot more money. I mean, Oklahoma has some oil money, but it's a small state. Are they gonna be able to keep up in the SEC? I don't know. Well.
Well, here's the thing, Nick. Last year, when they had already decided they were coming, we talked about at the end of the year and we said, good luck to Oklahoma when they got to go play South Carolina, when they got to go play some of the lower rung teams in the SEC. They're going to have problems with
Right,
the big boys. And God,
right,
man, South Carolina didn't go in there and thump them in Norman. Thump them. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
thump them. Now, they got a lot of injuries, so I'm going to put it to that. But I don't know if it's money because they're the only game in town. Obviously, the Oklahoma
right,
State Thunder, the basketball team, is
yeah,
the only. I said the other professional team in the state. Pretty much it.
yeah,
So I think the brass Oklahoma will be fine, Nick. I just think that Coach Venables might be a little bit on the watch, man. We might have because he's staring at like 4-8, 5-7 at this point, right?
right,
I mean, they have a quarterback situation, so they don't have a quarterback. Obviously, the portal will open up some people next year, which they can fix that
right,
problem pretty quickly. And they have money, man. The people who are Oklahoma alums that have done well,
right,
they live and breathe
right,
that stuff. So
right,
I kind of agree with Switzer, obviously. It's an economics issue, but it's also
right,
I don't feel bad for Oklahoma. I mean, if you look above their
right,
stadium during the game the other day, which I saw, it's like 50 conference championships, 7 national championships,
right,
240 All-Americans. I mean, you saw the litany of accolades, right?
right. Good point. Good point. But
I think Oklahoma's going to be fine. They just are going to have a down year this year. So the wrap up of this week's games, I'm going to call it disrespected. Okay?
okay.
You went 11-8, another above 500 week for you. Nice job, Nikki.
I'm slowly trying to get back above 500. You're
Yep,
you're doing fantastic. You're at 92 and 62. That's incredibly good. Well done.
64%.
Yeah.
10-10 last week, so two back-to-back 10-10 weeks. But there was some freaky shit that happened that I didn't foresee. So let's go through the games real quick. Um,
Okay.
we both like Boston College. and Virginia Tech throttled them. That
Right.
Thursday night in Blacksburg is usually pretty special, and they played like
Right.
um I like you like Duke because you don't trust Florida State anymore. I like Florida State thinking they're going to do something. They had chances to win that game
Right.
at the end and kind of choked it away. Duke
Right.
had like some fake punts. They had a pick six. There was a lot of things that happened in that game for them to win it. Um, I
Right.
like Purdue. You like the under. The under hit. Nice job. I lost. Oklahoma State, our lock of the week hit. Thank you, Nick. 9.5 points. They
All right.
barely lost 38-35. Um, you liked Miami. I picked Louisville getting the 5, and Miami won by 7. So I lost there. You got
Right.
that one. We both
Right.
like Nebraska to Indiana. Obviously, we talked about that
Yeah.
56-7 Indiana with a
Right.
beat down. Both like
Right.
Rutgers and UCLA found a little life. I mean, talk about disrespect. I mean, they've been so
Right.
bad. They flew
Right.
across the country and knocked out Rutgers and kind of put Rutgers back in its place. The Rutgers train is over, right? It's off the rails at this
I,
point.
yeah. I mean, some of these teams, I think, Rutgers, Cal's another one. They need a bye week. They might not get one, but they need a rest.
Yeah, no, they're going to get one. Everyone's getting 2 this
Right.
year, Nick.
Right.
Um, South Carolina, we both like them going into Oklahoma. They throttled them 35-9. I
Right.
like Temple against a bad Tulsa team. You followed me because my son's a Temple because you just want to be a good friend. 20-10, Temple won
Right.
there. So I started out 0-7, and now I'm starting to make a little comeback.
Now the comeback trail begins.
Yes. You like Georgia Tech? I
Uh,
like Notre Dame in a beatdown. They beat them 31-13. The game was closer than the score
Texas.
because I watched the highlights of that. Georgia Tech was kind of in the game. Notre Dame just has too many athletes for them. Both loved Illinois, 21-7 over Michigan. Michigan's toast. They can't score. They just
Right.
can't score, man. That's a problem.
Right.
Their defense is
No
still
quarterback.
tough, but they're tired because they're on the field so much because they're not doing anything offensively.
Right.
Alabama, we both liked the under because we didn't know which way that game was going to go, right? Tennessee beat them
Right.
24-17, and the under hit for both of us. Baylor,
Excellent.
Texas Tech.
Well,
You took the over, which was a great pick because Baylor beat them 58-35. I don't know where you came because you never bet the over. You bet the over there.
never. That's yeah. I got to start betting the over
Why'd you go over there, Nick? Was there any reasoning behind it?
because I'm getting killed this year. I'm always like, oh, it'll be under, and finally I'm just like, nope. You got to zig instead of zag,
Yeah,
and take the over.
it hit.
Yeah.
Um, I love Colorado. I thought Arizona was toast. Colorado throttled them 34-7. That Colorado team's not too bad this year. They got some dudes as they had last year, but I think Dion's figuring it out. You took the over, which didn't hit. I like Maryland. You like USC. I just thought Maryland would
Right.
play better. I didn't think they'd win, but I thought they'd play better. I am so happy
Right.
they won. Believe me, that made my week. We both like
Yeah. Can
Georgia.
you just talk for a minute about what you thought when in the late in the fourth quarter? Can you take us through that?
Well, yeah. So late in the fourth quarter, so Maryland's going for it on fourth down, like in 3 possessions in a row. They just like, screw it, let's go for it. Fourth down,
Right.
yep, let's go for it. Because they didn't, I don't think they wanted to. Watson was playing to win the game, right? So they
Right.
score to go to get to 21, and he's like, screw it, we're going for 2. Instead of being down by
Right.
7, he wants to be down by 6. They make the 2-point conversion, and then we get the ball back. We score again. We kick the field goal. Then USC gets the ball back. We scored way too fast. USC gets the ball back with like 54 seconds left. I look at the boys. I said, if we lose here on a field goal, we're packing the shit and we're leaving. We're out of here. I'm
Right.
done. I can't.
Right.
I'm emotionally
Right.
spent. Like I said, I'm emotionally
This
bankrupt
meeting
with the
is being
Maryland
recorded.
Terrapins.
Right.
And they went for it on 4th and 3.
This
USC,
meeting
I
is
thought, was
being
a
recorded.
terrible, Lincoln Riley, terrible use of the clock and his timeouts.
Right.
Like he panicked a
Right.
little bit, didn't use them all, didn't use any of them until I don't even know if he ever used them. But
Right.
what it turned out on 4th and 3, he threw a nice ball and Caleb Wheatland knocked the ball out because that was the first down. They catch it, and then
Right.
they're in field goal range right there. So I'm
Right.
I'm happy we won, man. We needed it desperately. Locks needed it.
This meeting is being
The
recorded.
team needed it. Everyone needed it.
Right.
So it was good to
Right.
see, man. We were all pretty psyched. And then we said we're staying as I said we're going to stay as late as everyone wants to stay. But by 9:30, I was like, we got to go. The game had ended
Yeah.
2 hours ago, and we're still there.
Right.
No, we
Right.
weren't the last ones in the parking lot, but close to the last ones. And I said, we got to go. So
Right.
that's how it kind of went down. It was fun. Um,
Right.
Georgia Southern, we both like them, right?
Right.
We
This
thought
meeting is
they're
being
tough. They
recorded.
would play JMU tough, getting 9.5 at home. They won outright, 28-14. Um, the next game, we both like Arkansas at home, thinking this is a trap game for LSU, and LSU throttled them 34-10.
Yeah.
LSU's pretty
Hard. Yeah.
good, pretty
Right.
pretty good. Um,
Right.
K-State at WVU thought it was a trap game for K-State. I did not. I said WVU's pretty much done at this point.
This
K-State
meeting
beat
is
them
being
badly,
recorded.
Right.
45-18. And then the Texas game, we both picked Georgia, getting 5. I bet them like a $20 bet with with the Maryland game, um, on a parlay. But I bet Georgia on the money line. I bet them to win outright. So I was
Oh,
pretty
good.
pumped.
Well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So that it was a good week, man. But
Right.
disrespected. You know, let's go down the list of
This
disrespected.
meeting is
Georgia
being recorded.
disrespected. LSU disrespected. Maryland disrespected. Georgia Southern
Right.
disrespected. I mean, it's just
Right.
Tennessee, Illinois, all these home underdogs. I don't get it.
Right.
Not Oklahoma, not South Carolina, but no, Rutgers was favored. Yeah, Rutgers was favored. I guess Indiana to a certain extent, even though they were favored.
Right. But they were definitely disrespected.
This
Yeah.
meeting is being recorded.
All right. So let's go over the picks for this week, man. Let's get after it here.
Okay.
Got a busy week this
Okay.
week. I
So
I
do the lock
pre-looked
lineup
at
for us?
it and picked my picks ahead of time. Just because
Okay.
I kind of look at it and study because I'm typing down your picks when we do it. So
Right.
I'll do my pick first every time and then we'll let you pick, okay?
Okay.
Syracuse
Sounds good.
getting 6 at
This
Pitt.
meeting is being recorded.
Right.
61.5. I am going to go with the under here, thinking that they're both going to play a tight game. I think it's going to be a closely fought game. If I had to pick with the spread, I would probably pick the Cuse getting 6. But for right now, I'm going to take the under.
Okay. I'm going to join you on the under.
The under?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a good game too, man. Boise State, 2.5 point favorites at
This meeting is being
UNLV.
recorded.
I'm just gonna go flat out say Boise State here, man. I think they're kind of a team of destiny. They got the best player in the country, I think, now that isn't hurt. And
Right.
and he's gonna carry them here against UNLV, which is to their second quarterback, which they haven't missed much of a
Right.
beat, but it's still their second quarterback. So I'm gonna go Boise State
Right.
here.
I agree. I'm gonna obviously everything is teed up for the running back Ashton Genty to show his stuff.
Yeah,
So I'm looking forward to this game.
prime time.
10:30 at night. But yeah, we're gonna watch it.
Yep, it's a prime timer.
Right.
Rutgers going into at USC, traveling across the country,
Right.
getting 14 points. Southern Cal looking, to take it out on somebody after the Maryland loss. And Rutgers looking to take it out after the UCLA loss. But I'm gonna take I don't like to
This
bet the
meeting is
over under. I
being
like to
recorded.
bet teams, but I'm betting the under here as well. thinking it's two offenses. They're kind of sputtering right now. And I think it's a 21-27 game, something like that. 55.5, I think is too much.
I agree with you. I'll join you on the under there.
The under, okay.
Yeah.
Navy at Notre Dame in the
All right.
Meadowlands, not at Notre, in MetLife, Notre Dame. I mean, in New Jersey.
This
Getting
meeting is
11 and a
recorded.
half. This game, when Navy is good, they always play Notre Dame tough, man. They get up for this game.
Right.
This is their Super Bowl. This is the Army game is their Super Bowl. This is the playoff game to get in the Super Bowl. Let's just say that. They play them every year.
Right.
They always, when they're good, they play them tough. I like Navy here getting 11 and a half. Really do.
I do too.
Navy?
The midshipmen.
Yep.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, here we go. I don't know where that noise is coming from, but it keeps saying it. You know where that's coming from?
No.
All right, hang on with me, Nikki. Hang tight. Okay. Nebraska getting 25 and a half at Ohio State. That's a lot of points, but I think
This meeting is
Nebraska
being
may
recorded.
be cooked, man. So I'm going to take Ohio State here, laying that big number, 25 and a half.
I'm gonna take Nebraska. I agree with your reasoning. I'm just gonna take Nebraska just the number's so big.
Yeah, it's big. I agree. All right, Washington getting 6.5 at Indiana. And I am going to take Washington here. I think Indiana squeaks by and beats them, but I'm going to take UW because of the backup quarterback situation. I don't think they're going to be as dynamic with a second quarterback. So I'm going to take
Right.
Washington here.
I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna take Indiana. I'm not getting in front of this freight train again.
Okay.
Enough is enough.
Zignetti wants to run you over some more.
Yes.
All right.
Right.
Oklahoma getting 20 and a half at Ole Miss. I guess these lines are based on the injuries, man, but I'm going to take Ole Miss. I think they throttle them. Lane Kiffin loves to beat up on wounded soldiers. That's the only teams he can beat
Right.
up on. So I think
Right.
they throttle Oklahoma. I don't know what I think 27-3, maybe like 30,
Okay.
38 to 10. Oklahoma's not very
Right.
good. Their backup quarterback came in, the other kid, the other freshman, and
Right.
he's not very good either. So
Right. I'm gonna do the same thing as with the India. I'm sorry, with the Nebraska, but I'm gonna take Oklahoma just that this is too many points.
okay.
20 and a half points is a hell of a lot of points.
It's a lot. 3 touchdowns
Right.
covers it though.
Right.
Temple,
Right.
Temple getting 7 at ECU. ECU's new coach.
This meeting
Temple
is being recorded.
is a little bit of a comeback streak. I'm going to take Temple here with the 7 on the road.
Me too. Yeah.
All right. All right. Missouri getting 13 and a half at Alabama. Really, really like Missouri here. I think I think they win this game, but I think it'll be really close. I think Alabama's in trouble, man. I think they're going to take another L or two, and they're not going to make the playoffs this year. So I'm going to take Missouri here at 13 and a half.
Okay. I'm gonna think this is gonna be a low scoring game. I'm gonna take the under.
Okay. Northwestern getting 13 and a half at Iowa. 37.5 is the over under, the Iowa over under. I'm going to take. Oh, I'm going to take
This
Iowa
meeting is
here.
being
I'm not
recorded.
going to take the over under. I'm just going to take Iowa.
I'm gonna take Iowa as well.
All right. Illinois, 21 and a half point underdogs going out to Eugene. 54.5 is the over-under. I'm going to use your Oklahoma strategy and your Nebraska strategy and take Illinois here, getting 21.5. I think they lose.
I'm
I
gonna,
think they lose by 17, maybe by 14, but I don't think they get through. They're pretty good defensively. I think this will be closer than
right.
21.5.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna jump on the under 54.5.
Okay. So this is like my big upset here. BYU 1.5 point favorites at Central Florida. I'm going to take
Right.
Central Florida here to knock out BYU. I think the travel from Provo all the way to Orlando is a long way to go. I think
Right.
Central Florida can
They're
score.
very
I think
well.
BYU's defense can give up a lot of points. I think this is going to be a magical night in Orlando, and I think they knock BYU out.
It's a good fish. I agree. I have to agree with you. That's a good. I mean, your logic is perfect. It's a long trip. It's hot out.
This meeting is being
Yeah,
recorded.
Central Florida in here.
You going to take them too?
Yeah, Miss Mustaine needs to win one of these.
Yeah. All right, Maryland bouncing back off the W off USC, going into mini, getting 4.5 points at Minnesota. Over under is 46.5. I'm gonna take Maryland here with the road win, man. I think they win this game. I think Maryland's found
This meeting
something.
is being recorded.
I don't think Mini can score a lot of points, and I think Maryland can actually score some points against teams. And I think they win here against Minneapolis on the road against Minnesota.
I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take under
46.5.
46.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Miami, 21.5 point favorites against FSU in Miami. I like Miami here. I think FSU is cooked. I think they're done. We've been saying it
This
for
meeting
weeks
is being
now.
recorded.
You lose at Duke as a 3.5 point underdog. I mean, you're just a dog with fleas. They're now up to their third quarterback. I mean, they're just like they
Yeah.
can't find anybody. They can't defend. They can't block anybody. They can't protect. Miami's going to have a field day against their defense. And I think this could be really bad for FSU. I mean, I'm thinking 48-7, 54-6. It's
This
going to be
meeting
one
is
of
being
those
recorded.
those games you never see between these two teams, by the way. These games are usually pretty tight. Even when Miami sucked, they still played FSU tight. But this time, this FSU
Right.
team is terrible. I mean, they are terrible. They're staring at
They're
1-11.
1-6.
Huh?
Yeah. They're 1-6.
1-6 right now, and they're
One
staring at
win,
1-11.
6
I think
losses.
Miami just pummels them. And I don't think Cristobal lets the foot off the gas because this is a recruiting game. This is an in-state game. He can call them the state champions because they beat them and they beat Florida. I mean, there's a lot to this game that unless you're from down there, and I am, you know.
Right.
And that's why I'm wearing the
Right.
Irvin today. But I think Miami
Right.
pummels them. So that's my pick, Miami. Laying 21 and a
I'm
half.
going to join you there. I agree with you. I think Miami pummels them as well.
Yeah. This is another game that I had a little heartburn with.
This meeting is being
Penn
recorded.
State, 6.5 point favorites at
This
Whiskey
meeting
at
is being
night.
recorded.
Penn State's coming off a bye week, so they've had time to prepare. So they play Ohio State next week at home. And I think they're going to overlook Wisconsin, who's actually starting to play better now. And I'm going to go with Whiskey here in the 6.5. I don't know if they win the game, but I think this is going to be a very close game. 47.5 to over under.
Boy, I've thought about this game a lot.
This meeting
Yeah.
is being recorded.
So to me, this is similar to a little bit similar to the opening game of the year where Penn State's a touchdown favorite against West Virginia at West Virginia. I think obviously it's going to be rowdy. It's up in Madison. It's going to be fun. but I think at the end of the day, I think Drew Aller has a big game, and Penn State covers wins by 6.5.
Okay. All right, and that could definitely go that way.
Right.
This another game I had heartburn about. So there's some really good games this week, by the way, just to set the table straight. LSU, 2.5-point underdogs at A&M. 53.5 is the over/under. I really like A&M here, but I am going to change my mind here, Nick, and pick LSU here. A la what Notre Dame did to A&M at home. I think LSU scores on them and then stops them. I think LSU's found a little something on defense as well. They're starting to play better defensively. And I think they win this game, especially getting 2.5 points. I think LSU wins this game on the road. What do you say?
Yeah, I was surprised that A&M was favored by 2.5 here.
This meeting is being recorded.
Boy, I always take LSU, and they always give me a hard time. This game has gone like way over plenty of times, but I'm going to go with LSU plus 2.5 there.
Yeah. I think they find a way to win this game. I don't know why. I just think Texas A&M isn't quite there. I don't think Elko's there yet, but he's building something there.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay. Michigan State getting 5 at Michigan. I personally think Michigan's 40.5 is the over-under, which is nothing. I personally think Michigan's done. They can't score. They're defending, but their defense is getting worn down. I'm going to take Michigan State here with the upset, getting 5 points.
I'm going to join you all the way.
Yeah. We're starting to see things too. Game, 7th, 8th game of the week, you start to see some trends.
Meeting is being recorded.
Right.
Kansas plus 10, getting 10 at K-State. I don't think Kansas is very good this year. They haven't really done anything. K-State's shown some stuff. I'm going to take K-State laying the number. Even though this is an interstate rivalry, they always play each other tough. But I think K-State's demonstrably better than them this year.
Yeah. I'm going to go on the under here.
Under, okay.
This meeting is being recorded.
SMU, 11.5-point favorites at Duke. Duke with the big one against Florida State. That doesn't really say much anymore. They barely beat Florida State, and SMU beat Florida State by like 35 points or something, 36 points. So I'm going to take SMU here, laying the 11.5 at Duke. I think SMU is pretty good.
I'm gonna go with Duke. The 11.5 is a pretty big number. I'll take the Blue Devils there.
Okay.
This meeting is being
And then
recorded.
the last game of the week is Cincinnati, 4.5-point underdogs at Colorado. Cincinnati, they had a big win last week, right? Who'd they beat last week? You remember?
No.
Hang on, let me look it up real quick.
I don't.
I know they had a big win last week. And they're a decent team, but I think Colorado's pretty good, man. I think Colorado is
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Colorado's good. I mean, no question about it.
all right. Yeah, the Natty beat Arizona State 24-14 at home. This is at Colorado. 4.5 points is not a big line. I like Colorado here to cover that number, no problem. Even though Travis Hunter,
I love Colorado.
I don't know if he got pulled from the last game, but he started and played. Then they were up 28-7, then Dion pulled him, and he didn't play again.
Right. No,
he might have just been protecting him, but he's going to play.
He's banged up.
Yeah, he's banged up. All right, so pick of the week. We're 4-4. You're back, breaking the 500 mark. You're at 500 now with Oklahoma State getting a 9.5. Barely lost. They should have won that game. Who do we got this week as the pick of the week, Nick? Talk to me.
I think we're going to go with
lock of the week. I'm sorry, lock of the week.
Lock of the week. The lock of the week. I think I'm going to go with
Recorded.
Michigan State at Michigan with the 5 points.
Wow, strong.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay. And then the obit, the RIP this week as our final segment is Fernando Valenzuela.
Right.
This meeting is being recorded.
El Toro, Fernando Mania,
Right.
Fernando Nation.
Right.
Came on as a
Right.
20-year-old and shook the world, right? I mean, unbelievable. Let me
Right.
tell you my little story about it, then you can tell us everything about him.
No,
I
it's
was
all
a
right.
junior in
Go
high
right ahead.
school when he came up to the
Right.
big leagues, 1981. Um, I tried to pitch with like him, like during batting practice. It was almost impossible to throw a strike or throw the ball anywhere near the plate when you
This
look,
meeting is
take your
being
eyes
recorded.
off the plate and off your target and look up to the sky. It was almost impossible. The Tion one was a
Right.
little bit funnier, and I could do the Tion, but the Fernando I could
Right.
never do. Now with a wiffle ball,
Right.
I could throw a wicked screwball. Um,
Right.
and I would do the screwball where your arm went the opposite direction, the ball would dive down to the corner. It's unbelievable.
Right.
Could never really do it with a baseball to that effect because my arm wasn't strong
This
enough. I
meeting is
couldn't
being
whip my
recorded.
arm hard enough to make it snap like he did. Unbelievable pitcher. One of the very few. Tug McGraw was another screwball pitcher. Wasn't a lot of screwball pitchers back in the day. And I think the
Right.
screwball now they call it a cutter, don't they? Is it the same kind of motion?
No, I mean, see, you know this much better than I do. It's like a curveball, but going in the opposite
Right.
direction. Is that how it works?
It is. So
I guess.
curveball's this
I
way,
guess.
screwball's that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess
Being recorded.
you can only do it for so long before you blow your arm out, right?
He had 17 years in the big leagues, man. So I mean, he did it. His arm was rubber. I mean,
Yeah.
he had some injuries and he came back from them, but
Right.
um,
Right.
unbelievable. I watched the 30 for 30 tonight to get prepared for this, and what a
Right.
character too, man. Unbelievable. And
Right.
I remember the Mania, which the strike kind of
Right.
killed for a few months because they went on strike that
That's right.
year.
Good point. Yeah.
But he came
Right.
back and he did, they did win the World Series with him pitching the pivotal game 3 against the Yankees. All right, so what do you got? Give me the stats on him, Nick. Give me the data.
No, I mean, it's to me. Well, it's like you were saying. It's not really a stats thing with Fernando Valenzuela. He, obviously he came up and he took really the country by storm in early 1981. I mean, everybody I think knew who he was,
Recorded.
and I guess he was in Los Angeles, which he has. It's
Oh, unmute your phone, Nick. Sorry.
sorry about that, everyone.
That's all
This
right. That was
meeting
my
is
fault.
being
Go ahead.
recorded.
Okay. I think that the importance of Fernando was how important he was to the Mexican American community in Southern California.
Right.
He's probably the best player ever to come from out of Mexico. Maybe Bobby Avila's in the conversation, but he was a tremendous pitcher. He was a big game pitcher.
This meeting is being recorded.
Like he got as much mileage out of that that he could, and
Yeah.
by all accounts, you read all these different accounts. He was a very humble guy, and he did a lot for the Dodgers, and he did a lot for baseball in Southern California, and for that we salute him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, here's a couple tidbits I picked up on the show I didn't know. His first rookie year, he made 30,000 a year in 1981.
This meeting is being recorded.
Was rookie of the year and Cy Young of the year the same year. Never has happened before.
Right.
Making 30 grand. The following year, he went into
Right.
arbitration, or he sat out, I guess, training camp and got bumped up to 350 grand. The
Right.
following year, he came up and was eligible for arbitration or renegotiation, and he got bumped up to $1 million. So in 2 years, his salary went from 30,000 to $1 million. And with that
Right.
money, he built his parents this beautiful home in Mexico, in their town in Mexico. So
Right.
pretty interesting. Not a real stat guy. 172 wins, 153 losses, 368 ERA.
Right.
So decent ERA for all those games he pitched. But a couple of
Right.
those seasons, man, the guy had 20 complete games. Pitchers aren't doing that anymore.
Yeah.
Lasorda would just
Right.
leave him in there and he'd ride it out. Always had a good
Right.
ERA. Struck out people in like good, important situations, but wasn't really a strikeout pitcher per se. More of a ground ball pop-up guy because that screwball's, tailing away from you and you're reaching for it and barely getting any contact on it.
Right.
And another little tidbit, a pretty decent hitter as well. Could hit the
Yeah.
ball as a pitcher. So,
Right.
um, won that series, was on the 88 Dodgers series team as well. Didn't start any of those games during that series, but he was on that team, the 88 team and the 81 team. So two-time World Series champion
Right.
as well. So
Right.
very good. All right, Nick.
And the Yankees and Dodgers are getting ready to lock it up again, starting on Friday night.
Yeah, playoff baseball, baby. It's the best. All right,
Right.
we'll talk, Nick. Thanks for making the effort to come down. I wish you could have stayed longer, but I get it. You got to head
Hey,
back.
no problem. I will. Let me
Um,
work on the technical things here so we don't have any more problems.
all right, man. We'll talk. See you.
All right. All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Yeah. Thanks. Bye bye.